welcome back to another wonderful xanScorp's diabetic tip corner. Now, I had tried to do this before last week. I had a number of issues with the damn sensor. Um, this week, I'm actually going to stick it in my abdomen because I have an additional tip for any of those who actually use their abdomen. And this is actually kind of important because, skin stretches. But, as usual, you want to make sure you have your supplies ready to go. That would be my overtape, my charger for my battery, for when I take my old sensor out. See, there's my old sensor. The injector, sensor of course, and then over here, because we always need these dang things as well as to constantly clean your hands if you're diabetic, but alcohol wipes. These are actually, as I said in my other video, these also work really well for cleaning off the transmitter, because the old transmitter does need to be cleaned off because it has glue or whatever, and using the reduced pain method will also put oil onto it. So I have, okay, that was my other, I don't know how those fell, but whatever. Okay. So yeah, I am going to turn on my second camera so you can see what's going on my pump. Now you can see my pump. So I have about I'd say 6 hours something minutes left on this sensor, but I want to get this started now because I work today. So I'm going to go here, unlock, and move my phone out of the way. Okay. Now I'll go down to options. Utilities, sensor settings, and we're going to turn it off. It'll tell us, are you sure you want to turn it off? Yes, I am. It's going to tell me which ones are no longer automated because I just turned it off. So, auto mode readiness screen. Do I want to view it? No, I do not, because I already know it's not in readiness right now. So, that is now off. The suspend before low and suspend on low or off. That's actually what it tells me. See, that's my sensor right there. So, as I covered in my other video, I use a cloth or an old shirt of some kind for the purpose that it doesn't fall apart like tissue would. And then I use baby oil for softening up the glue on the actual adhesive. The tape, the adhesive, whatever you want to call it, the over tape and the dressing. So this actually helps to not have it hurt so much when you remove it, because otherwise it does hurt. So first thing you want to do is you want to wipe around the edges, of course. And we're actually going to do this up on this one, on the top camera. So you want to wipe around the edges. And see, as you can see, it's been on there for a week, so it gets a little dirty around the edges. And once you do the edges, you can actually go right over where the sensor is because your sensor is kind of covered, so it doesn't really matter. You're not going to damage anything. Now, see, this is actually the only part where you don't really have to wash your hands all that clean before you start because, I mean, obviously you're putting oil in your hands. And I actually recommend using you don't need to use a cloth to do this, but I actually recommend using a cloth or something first. Mainly because same reason as using a loofah when using liquid soap. Because the fact is you can actually spread it with just your fingers. In fact, that's actually how I remove the tape, just my fingers, and kind of way back and forth. But then you end up kind of having it not spread as much when you still need it to keep spreading. So now, see if we can find a loose section of the tape. Typically, even if you only have like a little corner out and you still need some more, you can stick it right into the corner and squirt a little bit in. But in this case, one of the best things to do is to wipe back and forth while removing the adhesive, because then it actually keeps spreading the oil and dissolving the adhesive while you do this. So, I mean, obviously you don't want it to be hurting like a bitch when you do it. Excuse my language, but that's kind of the truth. See, now that's part way off, so I can actually stick a finger in there, take the oil, just kind of rub back and forth. Peel, peel, peel. And that was peel, peel, not pew, pew. America. But yeah, see, I found doing it this way, it actually takes me less than 10 minutes to remove one, which is actually very good, as opposed to God knows how long it used to take before I ever used oil. Before I ever used oil, it used to take me forever because this would hurt like crazy. But then I started using oil to break up the glue, which actually works a lot better. Kind of funny because what it makes me think about with the whole thing with using oil to break up glue is way back in the day when they had this show on, I'm not sure if it was PBS or what channel it was on, but they had a show called Ghost Writer, and basically it was a little ghost kind of thing that would communicate with them in writing. And on the one they were writing a story for a competition, and it was like a bubblegum monster kind of thing. So they used vegetable oil to beat this monster because, whenever you get oil gum stuck in your hair or whatever, that's actually what's advised to be used. See, like right now I'm underneath the sensor, so I'm just gonna keep rubbing back and forth with the oil. And then that sucks. You have to keep changing the point of attack, I should say. The point that you're actually rubbing from, because sometimes it just does not come out as easily as others. And in my case, I'm a Yeti, so I have a lot of hair that grows in places where it would be nice if it didn't grow, but shit happens. Hair is hereditary to the mother. So, You can see I'm pretty much down just that little bit of skin right there that I'm still holding on to. Oh, there we go. See, quick and done. It's actually 10 minutes 23 seconds. So yeah, about 10 minutes. I was just said. So now I gotta get the sensor or the transmitter out of this. That's always a pain in the butt. So since it is wrapped so much, it's got the over tapes on it as well as the window dressing. I always just use scissors and am careful not to damage the transmitter when using scissors. But for the most part, it's pretty much impossible to damage the transmitter. This is a Guardian Sensor 3, for those who are wondering. I'm just kind of like flicking pieces of this on my floor here. I gotta pick those up, but I just realized that my second camera is actually right angled at my hand. See? Oh, I did not even realize this. Now I still have that little piece of over tape thing, the one that folds over. So I have to peel that off to get this separated. And that's it, pretty much. See, there's my transmitter. That was the old sensor. Grab some of this trash off the ground real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, and now as I mentioned not long before, alcohol wipes. These are ideal not only for cleaning where the wound was or will be, but also for cleaning off that sensor, because the sensor itself, if you look really closely, there's still some glue on there. So you gotta like try to get, well, you should actually try to get as much of that off, because you don't want it building up over time. So take one of these out, unfold it so it doesn't unfold while I'm trying to clean the damn thing off. Yeah, you just kind of give it a good firm rub. I mean, this is the Guardian Sensor link is actually pretty durable. So, but you do want to try to remove as much of this stickiness off of it as possible. See, as I said, it's relatively durable because I just dropped it. I mean, okay, that's pretty good and clean for the most part. So now this has to charge before I stick it on the new one. So pretty much when I finish, still feels a little slippery, so from the oil. Although I don't know if that's my hand or the actual sensor. So now we gotta stick it back onto the charger to charge it back up. And while that is going on, I'm going to go and grab a shower and get clean. So I will be right back, and I will see you shortly. Good day, and welcome back everyone to the continuation of doing the new sensor. As you saw in the first half of it, I removed the old one using baby oil to minimize the pain of removal. It actually breaks up the glue, makes it easier to remove. Now I've just washed my hands. I've also taken a shower and everything. But as I mentioned before, alcohol wipe for prepping the area. We also have our injector, our new sensor, and this is fully charged now. That's my transmitter. And in case you're wondering, it's actually the G3 sensor by Minimet. I'm not a fan of some of their craft work, but it's what's covered by my insurance. And of course, the over tape. So we're going to need 2 pieces of over tape. One thing I learned is you gotta kind of take them all out to get 2 without accidentally peeling anything, which kind of bites, but because they put it in this little Ziploc bag, but I hate that because I want to just grab 1 or 2 and then they'll start to peel and stick to each other. And unfortunately, the over tape itself is so thin that if it sticks to itself, that's pretty much it. It's done. You can't really. It's really hard to undo it. Now, this time I usually use my arm for my sensor, but because of an additional tip that I had actually realized today, well, not so much today. I would say maybe 2-3 days ago that I wanted to give, which is in concern with wound dressing. That's actually what goes over the entire thing then, just to keep everything in place, secured. And it's also waterproof. The Tegaderm is waterproof. But um, most people, especially if you put it on your side or somewhere on your abdomen, they do it while sitting down or whatever, and then as soon as you stretch, it pulls the Tegaderm, and since the Tegaderm is very adhesive, it pulls on the skin and it hurts a lot. So we are actually going to do that also. But okay, now first things first. As I said, my hands are clean. There is the injector and that. So let me move my laptop back a bit, so I have room to put this on my desk. Put on camera 2. Oh, great. That's stalled, so give me a moment. Oops, wrong one. I like how I actually chose that one and didn't choose that one like a douche. But anyway, okay, there you go. Now it's active, so there, and I'm gonna turn that a bit. And it just went inactive again. That's annoying. You can also see the rest of my room here. But there you go. So what we're gonna do, obviously, open up the package. Now, you gotta make sure never grab it by the sensor, always grab it by the base. Set the base down. And this, you want to make sure that whichever way this main part is facing, see that body part of it, that the whole unit is actually facing the same way. So right now I have it pointing that way, so I also want to make sure the hole is on the back. So we go right over it, and we push down till we hear a click. That's it. Now, take one of our alcohol wipes, and like I said, I'm going to do this on my side for a change. I usually don't, but I usually would stick it on my arm, but so that is my side. Look, I'm a bit of a Yeti, so I had to actually shave it. And I have no idea why, but every time I move my camera, it goes inactive. So there we go. Make that a little bigger so you can see what's going on. Take out my alcohol wipe. And just kind of prep the area. Like, yeah, see, if you can't tell, I actually do have to shave it all the time because that's really a bit of a Yeti. And actually, you know, give me a second. I'm gonna put this directly into the laptop so it stop being a douche about it. Wrong. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, I had to make that bigger so you can actually see what's going on. I have no idea why it's actually plugged directly into the base of the laptop. So there's no reason it should be doing that. But okay. Now I have actually prepped the area. So this I am going to take there you go. And fingers right on the sides of the plastic. This straight up. There you go. Now you gotta remember whichever way you want the sensor to be facing, that's pretty much the way you're gonna have to um, whichever way you want the sensor to be facing pretty much should be where the front end of this should face. So now I want the sensor to go that way. So I am actually going to put this as far back as possible. So right about there. Move my hand real quick. Okay, right about there. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold it flat as tightly against your skin as you can. And press both sides. And hold them there for about 10 seconds so the adhesive has time to stick. And then this comes straight up. See, now I have this little thing just sticking out of me still. So while it's actually stuck like that, you probably lift this up. And underneath, there is a little tab. See, that tab you want to pull out. And as you pull out, you smooth it against your skin. So pretty much, so there you go. No, smooth against my skin. Now, this is actually a part I've seen a lot of people get wrong. And then they get mad because these sensors screwed up or whatever. You know, hopefully this won't mess up the camera. But as you can see, there is a small bit of plastic that is on the side of the sensor. That is what you want to put your fingers on, and then lift the longer plastic straight out. So, a second. We'll take our fingers on the sides of the plastic, and this piece straight out. And if you're very sensitive, I'm not, but if you're very sensitive, you'll actually feel the little prick stick right into it. But I am not that sensitive. So now this flap here, pull it back and out of the way. And you'll take one of your tapes here. Make this bigger. Oops. Make this easier. Like that. Okay. Yeah, but you're going to take one of your over tapes. You want to make sure this is out of the way and fold it forward. And the smaller section is what you're actually going to slide over this. So it looks like that. So they would tell you to peel 1 and 2 at the same time. You can. Sometimes I do just 1 at a time. 2 first and then 1. Mainly because I want to make sure it's in place. But today I'm going to do both. Because I am actually doing this on my side. So let's see, as you can see, it folded a bit over itself, which really sucks. Here, that one's done for. As I said, I take just 2. So I'm leaving 1 on there for now. Tuck it underneath, smooth it up, and then I pull off 1. And fold that down. Then of course you pull off the 3s. And you smooth that down. Like I said, unfortunately, I actually wasted one because whenever I do both at the same time, that actually happens every now and then. For some reason, on my left arm, I can actually do it very well, but anything on my side or my right arm, for some reason, always wants to fold over itself. I don't know why. I guess I think it's just funny. And unfortunately, they tend to send you the exact amount of rubber tape you would need. Like it's never going to fold over itself. But now, that's actually in place. Make sure to smooth that on the back. So next thing we are going to do is we are going to take the sensor. That's been charging for close to 2 hours. And you want to place the sensor right into this little point. Goes into the hole. And you guys flush it all the way on there. And you see that blink. And you wait till it stops blinking, of course. Should be like 5 or 6 blinks. And this piece that folds over, you don't want to do it too tight. Just firm enough to secure it in place, but not too tight. And then you take your other piece of over tape, of course. And once again, this one can actually do both at the same time because of how it folds over it. So I'm actually going to take both those. And the thicker end goes partly over the sensor, partly over the skin. Thinner end goes entirely over the sensor. Now, in case you can't tell, I'm actually kind of leaning out to this outside, so I get the skin stretched a bit. Now, get my pump off because I'm going to want to start this up so you can actually see what's going on. There's the pump. So we're going to actually go back down to where we were before. Options, utilities, sensor, sensor connections. We're going to turn that on real quick. Could we turn it off? So we want to turn it on. Sensor connections, start new sensor. I made the mistakes once of hitting reconnect and then it tried to time it out too so quick. So right now it says searching for transmitter. So now what I was mentioning earlier with the tegaderm is that you want to make sure that your skin is stretched when you're putting it on. So, I mean, that's mainly because obviously when you sleep or whatever, you're going to stretch the skin. And if you haven't stretched the skin when you applied it, you're pretty much using something very adhesive and pulling your skin, and that hurts like crazy. So, see if I can do that. Yeah, I can. Okay. So now I'm going to take that off. So all the stickiness is exposed. And make sure the tape is going the exact same way as the sensor. So, see, it's the long way, this one. So, I'm going to stretch my skin out and apply the tape over it. So the entire visible window covers the sensor. You see, by stretching the skin out now, I can actually, do that without pain. And I'm probably going to use another piece of Tegaderm, but that's because my aim was a little off. Of course, that happens when I'm trying to record this and do it at the same time. My aim ends up being a bit off. So you want to lean out and then apply. That way, when you remove, your skin's already stretched. So when you lay down or whatever later, it doesn't hurt. I learned that the hard way last time I stuck it on my side. Let's just say every time I stretched my skin, it hurt like crazy. So now we're actually just gonna wait for my sensor to finish warming up. See, right now it is in warm up. If this damn thing would focus. Yeah, see, warming up. So once that's done warming up, then it'll actually tell me to calibrate it. Let me turn that one off. But yeah, once that's actually done warming up, it'll have me give a glucose reading to calibrate it, and then not long after I'll have to give another one. But most of these can go in the trash. This thing can go in the trash. This is just the bottom of it. This sharps container. They recommend a sharps container. And I'm actually gonna have to look online and see if I can find any more of these over tapes, because except online, going to the actual diabetes center is the only place I've ever found them. But I do hope this was informative and it's helpful to somebody. I really do. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to ask. And sorry for the diagnosis, I guess, because especially in my case, type 1 diabetes is a lifelong thing. So, peace. See you around.